Yeah, Film Vault. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That is Anderson. I'm Brian Bishop. We're your hosts for today. We got a smorgasbord, Anderson. A smorg of movies to bring you. It's been a few weeks since we recorded live and in person. Here we are again, reunited. Feels so good, and we're going to bring you, I think, how many movies combined? Because I got six. You got six. We'll have a little crossover, but
I mean, we're doing top five here, right? So
we'll do a top five. A little departure from the normal format. We will not do a separate top five to start the year. We got so many backlogged Fanflickssions, and that is the movies that we've seen recently. We're going to review those 5-1 or 6-1, as it were, but worst to first.
Yeah, so we're doing exactly that. We're catching up, and instead of having a completely separate episode dropping on Friday with our regular top five, we'll get back to that format next week. But I got to tell you, I really liked just catching up, especially this time of year.
I kind of did too.
And ranking like the five best movies, like 5-1, as the most recent movies we've seen. I like this. I enjoyed. I do miss going and doing the research and going back and whatever we land on, some topics better than others. However, I like to be able to sit down and take notes on movies.
What?
I like to be able to sit down and take notes. Your new headphones are disturbing me.
They're giving me clarity I've never had.
I don't know why there's like little bumpers on the top of them to make it.
Because when you get angry and smack me, they'll cushion some of the blow.
There's such a wide. It's as though you're a giant football going through a very small upright upside down and just clearing.
These just arrived an hour ago.
What are they?
Why
are they so strange?
Sennheiser.
You could swing them like a kettlebell.
What are they?
It's distracting.
Oh, you want to like swing between your legs?
Brian, a lot's happened. How's the new year going for you?
The new year's going great. Off to a fast start.
Great.
Things are happening. Things are progressing. Mm-hmm. Hey, big shout out and big welcome to any new listeners who may have discovered us in the past week or so.
Mm-hmm. We get new listeners all the time. People are searching for film podcasts and they stumble across this one all the time. I talk to the listeners quite a bit, Brian. And I can't tell you how many of them were just searching their podcast. And they just typed in film and we pop up. It's nice.
It's smart of me to name it the Film Vault, not some other goofy name you wanted to go with. Real Beat or something.
Film Vault is what I called it. Oh. It was my name, fool.
It's not how I remember it.
Cinevaults was one of the things you wanted to call it.
Cinevault.
And Cinevault is one of the free channels on the Roku Live TV, Cinevault.
Oh.
And then AD is another channel like right below it. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, you said
they got AD.
We could have been bought out.
You need more juice.
Could have been bought out.
Avery sounded good.
No, Avery's got just enough juice. That's Avery, our producer. If you're not familiar, we are streaming on YouTube, by the way. If you want to watch the show, watch us talk, which is strange.
Mm-hmm. You can see Brian's head. Give him a clear shot. What in the world, Brian? I've never seen headphones like that.
It is odd.
We probably wouldn't. They're probably expensive.
Looks like you could use them to jack up a car.
I mean, it's a good thing this is an audio show primarily.
Except for now. Really rushing to YouTube.
I think those could fit on the Hulk.
The Hulk, like original Hulk, or like Hulk when he was half banner?
I think the original. Yeah. They're so wide.
It's weird. It's the cushions on top that really make it strange. All right, so yeah, I'm going to have five solid movies to talk about, as well as a television program, and a half program.
Boy.
Yeah, TV Vault coming to you live on this episode.
Oh.
Yeah,
I got 6 films, and I got to tell you, maybe it's the time of year when the prestige pictures come out. But even my number 6, I can say. It's all right. I don't hate it. I don't hate any of my movies. I saw movies that I tolerated or loved.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to go because there is some crossover and there are some movies that I particularly liked and I wouldn't be shocked if you hated them. So that's the nature of what we do. So let's get to it. Let's talk about you though. What happened, Brian?
What's the talk?
Did Dr. Drew finally get in Corolla's ear and suggest that he make changes over there?
You gotta dump the dead away.
This cancer kid's early bringing you down.
I don't think that was said.
No.
No. If you we got a lot of listeners, legacy listeners who don't listen to the Corolla show. They did at one point. Maybe that's how they discovered us. Either way, they're not aware of the happenings and goings on. But yes, I'm no longer with the Adam Corolla show.
You got the X.
I did. Now I don't know. It's hard.
You got kind of like a laid off situation, right?
Kind of was laid off.
But when you get laid off, can't you get laid back on?
I don't think anyone's ever, unless you're like a seasonal worker or something, I don't think you ever laid back on. Does that ever happen? I
feel like it is. I feel like it's something that happens when companies fall on hard times.
Well, there's furloughs. That happens.
Yeah.
You're off for a month or two or whatever it is. or every other Friday or something. Anyhow, Corolla's going to do direction, going solo. He's more than likely than not moving out of state, and that precipitates a different format.
10 minutes with the Corolla.
Oh, I don't know what does that mean.
Little 5 minutes with the mic.
Oh, like Corona. I'm
Sure, walking around Disneyland.
I'm sure that'll happen.
Well, here's the thing. It would be brand new territory if you guys were to do a podcast from different states, because that's never happened, I don't think.
We did when we did the podcast via Zoom during the pandemic.
Right.
I don't think he liked it very much.
No.
I think he found it a little clunky. So I think he saw down the road of an infinity of that and thought, no, that's not for me.
You could have moved to Texas with him.
That's it's on the table.
No, I heard from a number of listeners who still listen to Corolla, and they were talking about how he gushed and was emotional, and like how human he was.
Oh.
And did you hear it? You didn't
No,
listen?
I was about to say this might challenge your perception of me. Christy actually said to me yesterday, she goes, "Did you hear what Adam said about the changeover?"
And you're like, nah, he said it's me in person.
No, I did say that, but then I was like, it never occurred to me. I didn't have like a thing where like, I'm not listening to that, or I have no interest. I didn't like take a moral stand. It literally never occurred to me.
This does not surprise me
Why?
at all.
Because
you're not on the show anymore, so why?
That's true.
Why would Brian want to listen to that
That's
show?
a really good point.
But it is all about him.
That is a good point.
It may or may not be. In fact,
I have no interest in a show that doesn't involve me.
I heard about it just before it actually got released, because I have sources, right? And I was texted fairly late at night, and then the show dropped, I think is how it worked. And then I listened to Jillian actually put it on. I said, honey, not before I go to bed, because I got the PTSD. Adam and I are through the woods. We're fine. We're good. I'm indebted to Adam. He's done a lot for me. However, those 6 years that I work with him, there was a lot of abuse both ways.
Well,
I hear his voice.
Plus, it was at night.
And it was... Well, I mean, there was that too.
It's a trigger.
So I hear his voice in it, and I just kind of almost like an abused dog. I'm like, oh god, he's gonna call me a snowman again.
He's getting out the broom
right before I go to bed.
Plastic snowman.
So what was one of the greatest insults ever hurled my way, I must say. Anderson, you can be replaced with a plastic snowman.
That should have been on my list of top 5 insults.
And no one noticed. You know what's funny? My wife, being obsessed with vintage and antiques these days,
got you a plastic
she loves
snowman.
the blow molds. And that's what plastic snowmen are, right? The blow molds. She loves those things. So yeah. I could replace you with a plastic snowman and no one would notice. Well, I mean, it's so random. All right, so Jillian and I listened. I allowed it for 5 minutes before I said, got to shut it down because I'm not going to be able to sleep.
There's no Brian.
She talked, Corolla talked, I just called Corolla she.
What are you talking about?
Corolla talked about you for maybe you and Gina Gina probably going to be on the show next week.
Oh, big news. Gina Grad going to be our guest next week for the top 5 of her choosing.
Yeah. And he talked to you about you guys for maybe 120 seconds or so, and then he dovetailed into Jay Moore and what he brings to the program.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of Jay Moore talk. I mean, Jay Moore was going to be on the show, so it made more sense to talk about Jay Moore than two people that weren't going to be on the show.
Oh, sorry, are you trying to make me feel better?
Yeah.
It's not working.
Oh, well, I'm just saying you didn't miss much about you.
That's a real damning with faint praise.
No, he went on, and I think that it continued. I didn't listen, as I said. I heard reports that he was very emotional about it.
Well, it was a very cordial talk that we had, professional, and I honestly I understand. He's going through. I think he alluded or said specifically, this divorce isn't going as smoothly as maybe he anticipated, and that might precipitate some changes in his lifestyle and or work. I understand. I get it. I was more disappointed, I guess, than like really sad. Of course, I was a little bit sad, but I was disappointed. But I also understood. I get it. It's your show, man. You got to do what you got to do.
I do. You're
not
right.
you. I'm not talking about you.
Oh,
I'm talking to Avery.
So this does concern me. I did talk to you the morning after it happened, like shortly after it happened.
Yes,
we got in touch.
You were actually, I think, the first person to reach out.
Oh, that's nice.
Because no one else had heard, and no one else likes me.
I liked it on Instagram.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
And
it was well down the road.
We had it was actually a productive conversation, I think. We're going to get to movies here in a second. I'm excited about my list. Very excited. And we'll be talking about my list and Brian's list very shortly. Give you some good recommendations. I know a lot of people, I talked to some people over the break who are they're like, I wait to hear from you guys as well as other people, whether or not I should go invest a large number of minutes.
Movies especially, they've the flex pricing, they're more expensive on Friday nights, you know what I mean?
Well,
premium formats.
Just time-wise. Some of these movies ask for over 3 hours of your time.
I've got a couple.
Plus trailers, so.
I've got a couple.
Avatar's on your list.
Safe.
Brian.
Maybe that's not it.
However, after talking to you and having the dust has settled, a new concern has come to me, and I don't know who you're going to suckle anymore.
Oh.
Because you are a Corolla suckler. You love him very much, and you agree with everything he says. And I'm concerned that you're going to be looking like a runt might be, who finally found a nipple and then got knocked off the nipple and now is looking for
desperately.
Yeah,
buddy,
should this
that
concern
was
me?
my first thought. Then it was income. Then it was all the other things. How's Christy going to react? But these lips are made for suckling, and they got no one to suckle.
I know. Maybe in the new year you can just be suckle free.
Don't be ridiculous.
Hey, you had a good run, Bryan, and you know what? A lot of people don't understand who aren't in show business. Like this is an incredible run that you worked with the same person and on the same show for so long. I had a similar thing with Loveline, 17 years. Like that doesn't happen very often.
True.
Usually it's one gig to the next. So you had a good run, and I think it was time to turn the page. So
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Welcome to unemployment.
Yes, I am. I am
I was getting
excited,
lonely over here.
Excited about the future, excited about this year, excited about the show. I said to Anderson, I think when we talked, I said, I think the short-term winner here is the film vault, where I got so much more time and energy to devote to not watching movies.
The first thing you said is, I have time to watch. The very first thing you said is, hey, I think it's a plus because I finally have time to watch more movies, which I couldn't tell if he was saying that just to placate me.
And to really dive into the nitty-gritty technical stuff, because we know you love that. You just haven't had time to do it.
No, now I can really figure out how to
figure out this
post the
OBS.
show.
Yeah,
I don't think I said more movies. I think I said watch movies,
maybe.
which actually makes more sense.
All right, you want to do this? You want to get into it? I want
to hear what the listeners have seen.
Nice.
And again, for maybe someone who's listening for the first time, dabbling, let me say this. Number one, welcome. Number two, give it a couple shows. This is not. We don't run like the usual podcast. We're not smooth broadcasters.
We're pretty smooth.
You think we're smooth?
Yeah.
Well,
have you heard any podcasts?
I don't know.
Out
We're
there? You just tried to talk over me.
Good bit.
Other podcasts out there, they're either like a bunch of
Avery's a comedian, so that means a lot coming.
He is. He is a comedian. There's a lot of like laughing at things that aren't funny on a lot of podcasts, and people in various states, various microphone
This is
qualities.
the opposite. I say hilarious things. You just
And then there's
stone face.
the super produced shows that like feel like they should be on NPR or something, which put you to sleep. Got good information. I like to think that this show will give you some good information, maybe a few laughs, and you get to know us as people too. Like, give it a few weeks and you'll see me cry, probably.
I was going to say, I was going to say how many. It's more like how many cries. What's the over under? Hey, how's your dog doing?
Oh, she's dead. Thanks for asking. Bryan, you got to stop because I might. All right, I'm getting much better, but it's still very fresh.
Anderson's dog died tragically recently.
Yes, Bryan. Thank you very much to the people that donated in her name to like pets in need and stuff. That was very, very kind.
How does that make you feel?
When they do that,
yeah,
at least something good happened out of it, Bryan. Yes,
that's nice.
I could tell you this. It happened while I was putting up Christmas lights on my house. December 26th, those Christmas lights came ripping down. Yes, I didn't even get up on the ladder.
In the pool?
I was just pulling them off of the
ripping them.
Like some kind of savage. Just
Did
ripping
you have them.
The little clips were just flying all over. One hit me in the face. I'm not kidding. I was just ripping them down.
One hit your son in the jugular.
Every time I'd see my house with the Christmas lights on it, I would think of I was doing that while my dog
Daddy
died.
was Santa naughty.
I can yeah, okay. All right. I cried about it today, if you must know. Okay?
Really?
Yeah. Somebody who used to know her asked how she was doing, and I had to tell the story. And all right, let's talk about what have the listeners been son of a bitch!
What have the listeners asked about Sydney?
Thank you very much for all the well wishes and the very kind words. And
yes,
but it's like when Stanley died too. I had to hear a bunch of people like, "My guy went last year and it was awful." And I'm like, "Oh no!" And so I'm reliving
through there,
which I appreciate. Pain. But yeah,
did anyone volunteer to pay for Sydney's burial in your backyard?
No, Bryan. I'm having misgivings about that though. I wish that I had her cremated and put her out front because that's where she liked it the most. And now it's bugging me that she's out by the grill, and it freaks me out kind of, and it makes me sad. Hopefully I'll get past that, but right now it's not making me feel good.
Why would that have any effect?
What do you mean?
Where she's buried? Because you liked the front yard more?
She liked the front yard, and I just liked to, every time I went out there, I was just thinking my little dog is, kind of spread out all over this place. Instead, she's like under the bricks right by my grill, and I'm just like,
Every time the brick wiggles.
She was always underfoot, so she's going to be underfoot summertime too.
She was underfoot a lot.
Underfoot, yeah. Brian watched her for he got to spend more time with her the last month that she was alive than I did.
That's upsetting.
I got a solid 7 or 10 days.
What are we doing dead dog talk? We're not CNN on New Year's Eve where they're both sober and just talking about horrific things that happen around the world. Did you hear that? CNN, Andy and Anderson weren't allowed to drink this year.
I don't watch that.
They're just reading emails from people sad about their friends committing suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then they were talking 5 minutes after the New Year. They were reporting on Iran and how they, I think it was Iran, and how they don't hang people like we do here, where they drop them and break their neck. Instead, they lift them up by a crane so they suffocate.
Oh, Jesus!
It was 5 minutes. I heard it all.
Are you sure you weren't hallucinating?
No, I heard it all reported on Stern.
Okay. Well,
and Kevin Hart went on and he was cussing up a storm. It's bullshit. You're not letting these guys drink. CNN, what's the matter with you? It's good stuff.
Fair enough. All right, new listeners and old listeners too. We often have fans check in. Listeners check in and confess the flicks they've seen. We call it listener fanfliction. Do it? Is that what we call it? Fanfliction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to hear about them now.
And it's compiled by the Mitch Burns. Mm-hmm. Mark Woods on Facebook. Glass Onion. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed this one more than the first Knives Out film. The reveals throughout seemed plausible, and I appreciate the dialed-up comedy.
Okay.
The random stoner guy that lived on the island was inserted and perfectly random times. Highly recommend. And the Glass Onion FVT score, that's Film Vault Tomatoes score, Brian Zolter, 90%. Greg Hicks on Facebook. I've watched a bunch of movies over the break, and you'll notice I never post anything, but in this case, I felt I must.
Oh.
Who is this?
This is Greg Hicks on Facebook.
Welcome, Greg.
Anderson, you must watch Shoresy on Hulu.
No, I won't do that.
In fact, any hockey or sports lover should. Goes down real smooth.
So I've heard. I've been compelled to watch it by a number of listeners.
Is that a series?
I'll get to it. I believe it is not.
Greg is compelling you as well. Howard Stone on Facebook. Violent Night.
Wait, Howard Stern on Facebook?
Howard Stone.
Thank you. It was weird because I just cited Howard Stern things. And
Violent Night. Come for the Christmas-themed violence and stay for David Harbour's terrific Jaded Santa getting his John McClane on. Christmas Story Christmas tries really hard, but doesn't match the spirit of the original. And finally, Kyle Dorholt on Facebook.
What's up, Kyle?
Puss in Boots was my favorite animated movie of the year.
Tight.
So
that's the end?
That's it.
That's it.
All right, if you guys want to submit what you've seen, what you thought about it, go to our Facebook, Twitter, I assume, Instagram. That's where you can
all the socials.
Log your thoughts and send them to us. And
Reddit as well.
Oh, nice.
And YouTube is where you go to see the actual reviews. Eric has been doing some great work with the TikTok videos, and he condenses the actual reviews and puts them up on our YouTube channel as well, where you can just go watch condensed reviews. He puts a lot of work into them, and they look really good. And you get a sense of where we're at.
What's the YouTube link? YouTube.com/
YouTube Film Vault. The Film Vault.
No, it's not. No, it's something else, I thought.
All right. I don't know. I go to it all the time.
The Film Vault podcast.
Oh, there it is.
The Film Vault podcast.
It's on the show notes.
All right. Let's get to
you send me this?
What we've seen.
I think so.
Let's hear it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Why don't you start?
I'll start.
I can start.
We're not doing this bit.
Oh, you know what? All right. During a break or after a break or later in the show, we will go over, or maybe at the top of next week's show, later this week, we will go over our, a lot of stuff we just said.
I'm lost.
We will go over our New Year's resolutions from last year because we are not doing that episode this year because of the strange circumstances and all the things that have been happening over the last month and a half with Brian and I. So we're not doing the New Year's.
Me and Brian.
We usually we do the New Year's show resolutions. So we've done it the last 3 or 4 years. We're not doing it this year.
I live for this.
I know you do. So we will go over what we managed from last year's at the very least. All right. So
you're just going to roll over the old ones?
Continue the tradition.
I did that one year.
Why not?
Well, some of them.
I had the exact same list.
Some of them did not get taken care of, as you'd imagine. So let's go.
You know what? Most did.
All right. Well, maybe on your list. Right.
Of the movies, I'll be the time for the segment we call Flick Fashions. That's confessing the flicks we've seen in the past week.
I love because I try.
We got new listeners.
I know. I try to do this every week. We have new listeners, and I say, if you're listening, if you're a new listener, Brian just berates me. And this week he's acting as though it's our first episode ever. Okay.
Well, because now this is his only form of podding.
That's right.
The stakes have been raised.
I can't lose this, you guys.
How else can the ego be stroked?
Oh my god! What if I suck at myself?
Oh
what
my
if I
god!
had ribs removed?
Mm-hmm. Brian. Now it's in my head.
The human sucklepede.
Well done. It's 3 Brians.
Just suckling.
That's still not as bad as your headphones.
Let him juice.
Imagining that is
Dr.
not as
Hyder,
bad.
feed him.
Not as bad as looking at your headphones.
That's not bad. The number 6 film that I saw in the past, well, I guess it's been a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, since we recorded live.
It's been 2 weeks.
2.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we squeezed in that one on the 23rd. Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, then I saw a lot of movies.
It's been like 9 days.
I saw.
It feels like forever, though, doesn't
like
it?
a long time.
Yeah.
I'm so used to routine.
You're rote.
Doesn't like in a way I am.
Yeah, sure.
You know what? You finally use that word right.
Brian, go.
I saw Avatar: The Way of Water, a 2022 film written and directed by James Cameron.
This has already been covered on the show, so let's not spend too much time.
No.
All right.
Sam Worthington stars as Jake Sully, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Edie Falco, Sigourney Weaver, Jermaine Clement. This is sitting at 77% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's in theaters now. You may have heard some rumblings about Avatar:
It changed
2,
cinema.
The Way of Water.
It's changed cinema the way.
Well, in a way, it has changed cinema because you guys were talking about it, and I could kind of Anderson and if you didn't hear the last episode of Flickfessions, Anderson and Avery had both seen it. I had not, and they were both. Oh, it was out for hospital stay. So fuck you guys. It was
What just happened?
I had a reason not to see it. Anyway, you guys talked about.
They could have wheeled you into the IMAX.
That's right.
Oh, you could have been like, "Hey, what studio put it out?"
Like a Make-A-Wish situation.
Yeah.
It's Universal, right?
I am in the hospital. I might not make it, and all I want to do is see Avatar.
Yeah, if they
My
shaved you
last
clean, you could have been a Make-A-Wish kid.
Sir, we've listened to your podcast. You're not much of a fan. You guys talked about how the whole thing looked like a video game cutscene.
Yes.
It does look like a video. I was forced to see it in 3D. Every showing at the theater I go to.
You were going to not see it in 3D?
Oh Jesus! Here we go. Avery saw it in a very good theater that knows how to show 3D. I did not. It was dark as fuck. I did not enjoy my experience. Avery, most people who see it in 3D are going to see it with the dimmed glasses.
My argument: why would you see it if it's not even in 3D?
Because it still looks bright
Why
and
would
beautiful.
you see it? What is the allure?
If the movie can't hold up without, I do not like the camera setup. It makes it look like Brian is the main host and we are the guests. I hate this setup. Something needs to be done.
It's like a Johnny Carson. Move down the couch.
All right. Go ahead, Brian.
What I was going to say. Well,
for you to say though, like the only way this movie works is 3D.
Didn't you just go ahead?
Yeah, I know. It's just
I'll make your point for you.
If you can't stand up without your gimmick, then you shouldn't.
That's what's going to be a point exactly.
Oh, I don't disagree.
If I could surmise your point, it would be the movie should not live and die on the 3D. There should be a movie that you can enjoy regardless, and if 3D enhances it, makes it it puts it over the top as something, some miraculous or incredible spectacle, great. But otherwise, it needs to be a great movie. Avatar's not that.
No,
it's a purely visual spectacle.
Okay, so you remember how I rewrote Avatar for better as horror? I would have liked that version of it, where they just created all these different creatures and like there were mistakes in the lab before they finally got it right. But those
Dr.
creatures
Moreau
actually made it.
style,
And then if this one was just all centered around like the whale, like if the first one and this one was all centered around like these evil white fucks, let's say, whalers found out that like the brain stem had the stuff that keeps you ageless and it's worth like millions of dollars, and like some Greenpeace motherfuckers went down there and like assimilated with the Na'vi, and like that's what it was all about. Hell, fuck to the yes.
Sort of like what's Green Inferno? What was the one we watched? Green something.
Green Inferno.
No, what's the one
we watched? Green Inferno.
What's the one we watched?
Green Book.
With
Green
the video.
Inferno. Where they're in the jungle living amongst they're attempting to do good.
Right, yeah,
Yes,
but they
things
get
go horribly
slaughtered.
awry.
The Eli Roth film, yes.
Things go horribly
We did a
awry.
video watch along with that one.
That's right. That's funny you mentioned the whale because I'm somewhere around hour number 2. I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching this bloated abortion, and I'm thinking to myself, Jake Sully, Sam Worthington's lead character, is the most uninteresting lead character.
No,
in
I
history.
disagree. He was the
You
best
think
part of the
he's
movie. I liked
What?
his reads. I liked the way that he spoke his dialogue quite a bit. He had a John Barenthal vibe to him, and I liked him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't believe what I'm
Like
hearing.
I could have got on board with that guy's my leader. I'm like, I like the way that this guy, he puts down what he needs. Like he's not like insulting. He's not a douche about it. I like this guy. I can follow
I
this
think
guy.
we're saying two slightly different things, which is number one, Sam Worthington did a yeoman's job. Fine, he was whatever he was. The character of Jake Sully is charisma free.
Is there anyone that's got a bunch of charisma in this show?
No, that's my point.
Other than the whale?
villain. The villain's got some charisma.
He's probably the 10th most interesting character in the movie. Number one.
But he's so tropey.
Number one most interesting character in this movie, the whale, by far.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the whale.
And Tarzan Kid wasn't bad. I was expecting to hate that kid so
Tarzan
much,
Kid.
and I didn't hate him.
Stephen
What was his
Lang,
name? Laser? What was his name?
Spider.
Spider.
You, like that? You got that,
Hey,
Spider?
Would have been great if he broke his foot at one point, just as a tip of the
That's
cap.
an homage.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Jake.
So this is the 6th best film you've seen since I saw you last. You saw 6 movies. This is the bottom of the totem pole.
That's right.
All right.
And it's not even that bad. It's just why? Who is clamoring?
Many people, Bri.
But do you think they're clamoring, or do you think this is the group think? Like everyone's seeing this, I must see this.
I don't know,
Who
Brian.
loves Avatar?
Do you think that I believe in groupthink? Weird. Of course it's groupthink. Now, there's people that are listening that have seen the movie and they love it. And I'm jealous of you.
That's not true.
Absolutely true.
No one listening to this show loves it.
I
Absolutely.
really enjoyed it.
Stop the fuck up.
I swear to God. I swear to God, I told you that. But I enjoyed it the same way, like I said, you would enjoy Star Tours at Disneyland.
Yes, like Captain EO.
Yes, but the minute I left the theater, I will say I haven't thought about it for 30 seconds. Now, sitting here 2 weeks after the fact, I couldn't say one thing that happened in the movie.
I couldn't name a character besides Jake Sully and Spider.
No.
I didn't even know what fucking Stephen Lang's character's name is. Ostrich. It was something like that.
Quantrich?
Quanchi. Who knows?
I don't think that's it.
All right. I'd be fine with this movie. It's just another popcorn movie that's slightly better than, Marvel movies are way better than this thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But if this came out 10 years ago and the first one was 7 years ago, I mean, it was an elevated popcorn movie at the time. I want to care. It's when they're telling me that this is changing cinema forever and it's like things you've never seen before, and it actually shows up in a movie I'm going to talk about later, which is infuriating.
What do you think about the for your consideration? Best director, best picture.
Stop it.
Are they doing that?
No, I'm seeing the billboards.
The real pause would be if it was best actor or best actress. How many performers were on set or were actually shot doing something? Because this is entirely...
They did a lot of blending, more than you would think.
I felt like it was entirely like Pixar. Like it was
No, I looked like that, and you definitely get fatigue after a while. But no, a lot of them are doing the actual...
Really?
Yeah, with the little balls on their face, I'd imagine.
Even some of the real prosthetics, like they showed some breakdown on Twitter of him wrapping the little strop onto his hand so he could ride the fish horse or whatever it is.
I like strop, by the way.
They did a blending of it, so he is in a prosthetic with the paint, and there is some real water in a harness, but then churched it up, and it's interesting the way they blended it. But yeah,
it's a cartoon.
I don't want to know anymore.
Maybe excited to play video games in the next 10 years.
Speaking of the future is bright. Speaking of makeup and lack of makeup, Jermaine Clement played his role totally straight and with like an American accent, and you're neutering what makes Jermaine Clement special. What makes him like a
Plus,
person
that character was
watch.
just so unnecessary. He did nothing. Like you think that he maybe. I don't want to give anything away.
I have to
We're not
imagine
doing
he's
spoilers,
important
but
in the
there's
future movies. But why?
perhaps did he even make it? I don't even remember. I can't remember if he made it or not. I don't know.
There's a character who loses a limb. What are the chances we see that character?
That was great
with a mechanical limb.
I think probably
with a blue limb.
Probably
not bad.
0%. Oh wait, no, for sure, 100%. Are they gonna?
This was a bad, fun movie.
All right. Moving on. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. This is not TV Vault. However, we do dip in every now and again. I, with the wife, watched the latest flavor of the week, which is Welcome to Chippendales. Welcome to Chippendales. It's a 2022, 2023.
How much dough?
Hulu original. And it stars Kumail Nanjiani. Did I say that right? Nanjiani.
Yep,
I'm so terrible with names, guys.
Oh, that's a fun thing for you new listeners watching Anderson try to pronounce names.
I'm terrible with names unless it's Mike Smith, and I'll nail it. I'll nail it every time if it's Mike Smith.
I know you love hockey, which has the most impossible names in the world to pronounce.
Well, when I hear them on, being read over and over again, and I'm watching, it's almost like I'm practicing.
Oh, Ovechkin. That was the name of Stephen Lang's character.
No, it was not Ovechkin. And then I guess the only other name that you might know would be what's her name from Natural Born Killers? I'm terrible.
Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis. Yeah, she's the other.
That's my role on the show is to help Anderson.
He helps me out. So Chippendales is a 10-part miniseries. At least it has an end, and we're not going to have another season of this. I know, but I watched all of it, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it. For those of you who are not familiar with what
I watched
the saga
Peppa
Pig
Pig today with
so
my
did
daughter.
I.
So did I.
She's a little old for Peppa Pig, I'd say.
I know. I was going to say Bluey, but that would have been against. It's a good show. That would have gone against my whole point.
For those of you who might not know anything about Chippendales, and that was definitely me, it's fascinating to see the story unfold in 10 episodes or whatever it was. It just wrapped up like a few days ago was the last episode got released, so it's timely. And I can tell you, I watched the first episode, and I'm like, I have never seen such paint by numbers drivel in my life. Oh my God, it's like this
Must watch number 2.
and then that happened. It ends with a bit of a cliffhanger, which they never get back to with murder-suicide. And then there's some character arcs.
Seems like a big deal.
They never get back to
Seems like the only deal.
it. They never refer to it again. That character's just gone. And then there's some interesting character arcs, but everything is telegraphed, and then it gets exceptionally tropey by the end. The costumes are good. The acting's pretty good. This is a show you do not need to watch.
I keep waiting for you to come around and go, but I loved it.
Did not like.
It was like that holiday show that Jillian and I, my wife and I, were just like, all right, we got an hour before we go to bed. We just put the kid to bed. Well, let's watch another Chippendales. Jillian kept saying, "No, this is your new favorite show." I'm like, it really isn't, but let's just continue. Like it's comfort food. You can watch it with one eye open almost. There's some good acting.
Is there beefcake? Like, is it for the ladies?
A lot of beefcake, but it's bad, like, late 70s, 80s beefcake with the long hair and stuff.
So not good Magic Mike beefcake then.
No, it's not like the
Not
kind.
the prime cut.
Yeah. I did, and all of this took place at the original Chippendales, which is 4 minutes driving time from where we record this right now. It's right over there on Overland and Palms. Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, so I'm going to drive by after the program and see where the original.
But it's obviously not there anymore.
Chippendales
Like
is no
Overland and
longer
Palms
there.
is definitely not a Chippendales.
But there's a lot of crazy shit that happened. It's almost like a curse. And actually, there is a documentary series
I think
from
Roy
last year
Choi has a restaurant there
called The Curse of Chippendales. And Jillian and I are now halfway through the docuseries,
this is a Half-Life
4-part docuseries called Secrets of Chippendales.
Oh, fun.
Which is on the old Hulu as well. And save yourself some time, get the full story, watch it in under 3 hours, and get the actual story.
So that one's better.
Much better, yeah. Secrets of Chippendales so far. I love seeing Kumail like stretch a little bit. I like him a lot as an actor. He is kind of despicable. Well, not kind of. He is despicable in this show. However, it's interesting to see him play like an Indian from like India, like as an immigrant, because he doesn't do that very.
Oh,
well,
I see.
Right? Does he?
Does he go shirtless in this? Is he still ripped?
What's funny is like he's ripped, right? And like I didn't know anything about the show. Jillian throws it on because she wants to see some hunks, you know what I'm saying? And he's working at a gas station, which is true to the actual character. And he's like by some club, and he sees the club, and it's his dream to buy the club. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna be like the dancer. Like, but no, he just turns out to be the owner of Chippendales. And there's a lot of infighting, and he gets a choreographer. It's a very good story. It could have been done in a very effective 2-hour movie or a 3-hour docuseries, which I'm halfway through.
So this is a bizarre coincidence. So this is very local. Forgive me for indulging myself. But Anderson, if you go to the site of Overland and Palms, there is a very good Roy Choi restaurant called Kogi Taco. You've heard of the Kogi Taco Truck? Uh-huh. It's very popular. He has a brick and mortar restaurant called Kogi Taqueria. Great. You got to get a taco. You should do. Well, if you're there, you got to get the taco. Across the street is like a Michelin-starred sushi restaurant called Ennaka.
Okay, why is this?
It's a culinary destination. Mm-hmm. Now after Chippendales is left.
Okay, it was nothing but beef, and now it's sushi. Fantastic.
That's right, sushi and tacos. I think it's Asian Mexican food.
Went from beef to fish.
That's right.
Oh,
well done.
Come on. All right, created by Robert Siegel, who also created Pam and Tommy, which I did not watch.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that input.
And Big Fan, which I did watch. And I was not a big fan.
You didn't like Big Fan?
I didn't love Big Fan. I did not love.
Oh.
No, sorry. All right.
Starring your boy.
Chippendales. It is a crazy story, and I can't believe that I was not abreast to any of it. Chippendales story. There's a lot of murder and intrigue.
Oh, I didn't realize.
That I can tell you.
Just down the street. Uh-huh. All right. My turn.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to line up on this one, because this is a very divisive movie. Very divisive.
Mm-hmm.
Nominated for Golden Globe Best Picture.
You scared so many people with your explosion.
And yet I only have it at number 5 on the movies I've seen in the past 9 days. Talk about Babylon. Babylon. Babylon is a 2022 film written and directed by Damien Chazelle. He, the writer-director of Whiplash, La La Land, and First Man, starring Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Diogo Calva, Gene Smart, Jovan Adepo, Lee Jun-lee, PJ Byrne, Lucas Haas, Jeff Garlin, Eric Roberts, Flea, Rory Scovel, and a few fun cameos I'm not going to spoil here because I don't spoil things.
Yeah, really? Is it a cameo? Because I've seen him in like trailers and he produced.
Oh, we were talking about the most notable one, but there's a few.
Right. Yeah,
a few other pop-ups here and there.
All right. I don't know how we're going to do this because this one comes up later on my list.
How much later?
Much.
Oh, really?
Much later.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I will be talking about this one either right now with you or I don't know how to do this. That's the problem with doing the episode this way, and we won't do it this way very often. But yeah.
Well, I got
you want to just wait?
I would say we should do it now. We got 4 more movies to talk about.
Yeah. All right, whatever
Man,
you
you
want.
got 4 more movies to talk. 5 more. No, 4.
I got 5.
No, I got 4.
I got 5. All right. I absolutely. All right, so it's Damien Chazelle. This is his 4th movie, right?
Yes,
He blew us all away with Whiplash. You know, like The Message, like the drill instructor type, or not. It was an insanely made movie. You could tell right away that this guy he had it.
He had it.
Then he made La La Land, and it was not made for me, but I appreciated it. That opening scene was like something to die for.
Behold.
And then he made First Man, which I wish I didn't endure.
Amazing first scene for First Man. Then.
Great scene. That opening scene is holy shit.
I was talking to a film-loving friend about First Man, and I told her I just couldn't get on board. And then I realized what I'd done.
Good. There's a trailer. So this is his 4th movie,
55% of Rotten Tomatoes. He's in theaters now.
He's been trying to make this movie for 9-10 years. He is a phenom. He's still very young, considering I think all 3 of his movies he's made so far have been up for Best Picture. I think that might be.
I'm not sure about First Man, but definitely the first 2.
Definitely the first 2. He's been trying to get this off the ground. He was pitching it years ago, and they said, I don't think it's so ambitious. I think you need to do something else. So he did La La Land as kind of a primer for this one.
As though that wasn't ambitious. Shut down the fucking freeway.
Yeah, the opening scene is definitely ambitious. The rest of it, not so much. The opening, the trailer. There's trailers before, as you imagine, 25 minutes to be exact at AMC. Cocaine Bear.
We come to this place.
I saw my first trailer for Cocaine Bear.
Oh, it's fun.
My God, could I not stop laughing? Shockingly, that was not the most I laughed in the theater.
Really?
This movie is very funny.
This got some moments. I didn't hate this movie. I just didn't love it.
It's his funniest film by far. And there's about, I'd say, half a dozen.
I laughed a lot at J.K. Simmons and Whiplash.
There's about half a dozen insane scenes in this movie.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Insane scenes.
It opens with, I would say the first
30 minutes.
I was going to say 45 are just back-to-back scenes of just debauchery, just madness.
It opens up. So really what it's exploring is the early days of Hollywood where they're still not really respected. There were silent films, live stage shows still, like Broadway. And
that was the Prestige.
That was the Prestige. And like it was everything made movie-wise back then was considered like a popcorn movie and looked down upon by the elite. And this illustrates the rise, first of all, how they didn't give a fuck because they were making hand over fist money during the 20s. And then they were one of the only industries actually that really excelled and did well during the Depression because they were so cheap and it was one of the only escapes for people when they had no money. So they did very well. And this movie, Babylon, follows the excess, the debased human nature of these kind of like new money people just getting a bunch of money all of a sudden and not sure what to do with it. From that first scene that Brian's talking about, after they get the elephant up the hill in Bel Air, which was a fascinating scene. What Bel Air would have looked like back then, which was nothing because Brian and I live right. It's right off the 405. We passed through Bel Air just to get here.
Indeed.
And then 30 minutes or so of this crazy party at Xanadu, essentially, right?
Effectively, yeah.
And then we get the opening. It's a cold open. It's like a 30-minute cold open.
And then the title, yeah.
And
there's 30 minutes of this party. It's like a Gatsby party, but with boobs.
Yeah, a lot of boobs, orgies going on.
Yep.
Margot Robbie showing almost everything, which wasn't necessary. It's funny. You wouldn't expect this, but you go to the IMDb page, and you look on the parent guide for this movie. Severe across the board. Severe smoking, severe violence, severe language, severe sex, severe across the fucking board. This movie was borderline NC-17. I wasn't expecting that either. So what it does is it follows a few of these characters.
It's debaucherous.
Interesting.
It follows like, I don't know, a handful of characters as they either rise or fall into the talkies era, which was fascinating. I had no idea, Brian, that they were played so fast and loose with the insanity during the silent era with having full orchestras. I'd never seen that. I never learned that. I had no idea.
They had orchestra on set.
They'd have orchestras on set.
If they're shooting a Roman epic, there's an orchestra in the dirt.
Yeah, out on the open plains, like in Simi Valley, just playing to get all of these guys like inspired and doing their parts. People were dying all the time. And this is all, what I love about this is all based on actual events for the most part. Yeah. I mean, they embellished, but if you see a guy die, like, there's a guy who died doing something like that. Yeah, these characters are at least composites of actual characters. Like the female director, that's an actual director from that era. I absolutely love this movie. And the frenetic pace and the score. Oh my God, the filmmaking in this movie. Like it's fucking amazing.
The frenetic pace, I wrote down, I noted it because it felt to me like someone's trying to do P.T. Anderson and like Baz Luhrmann, but like coming up just short.
I don't feel like he's trying to do anything other than bring this vision to life. It does not feel derivative of anything to me.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't. I now my qualms with it.
It felt like it was set in the Moulin Rouge. It was like the porn pool scene from Boogie Nights set in the Moulin Rouge.
No, I mean, I do think it had its own feel. The camera moved in a distinct way. That the score really helped it along. The score is amazing, and if I have, this would be one of my favorite movies of all time if I cared about the characters. And I really didn't care enough about the characters like when they're in peril towards
the most interesting character is given third or fourth shrift. The trumpet player. Like his story was great.
What's
but it
funny?
Wasn't given enough.
That's another problem that I had with it. Was they,
how many zooms on playing trumpets were there?
A lot, and they go up though because it's tropey to go right into the hole. They did that once maybe. Usually they would do different angles. I'm like, okay, good. This movie's 3 hours and 9 minutes. I think didn't feel like 3 hours and 9 minutes.
It felt like 4 hours.
That's what I said about Avatar.
Not at all. There's a scene where it's the same. It's the crew. And the actor and the director who were working on doing very amazing things in the silent era, and now they have to make the transition to the audio era. Oh my God, was that funny?
That was a great scene. The one where they're on the set.
This movie has 2 or 3 of the best scenes I've seen all year.
Really?
I absolutely love this movie, with the exception of
not 3 hours. Of course, it's got a lot of scenes.
Not caring about the characters enough, and then of course, Chazelle's. He likes to twist the knife and be current, and that kind of bugs me a little bit. And I felt like he was reaching a few times with trying to be current. What's funny is you're right, like that the jazz player needed much more of a storyline. He's trying to show how racist Hollywood was back then
by not giving him enough airtime,
and then he didn't give him enough airtime in the actual movie, which is kind of
having a both
ironic. But
so why is this getting panned then?
Because I'm right.
I don't know why it's getting panned. I really don't.
It's indulgent. It's long. The stories drop out here and there. You know what I mean? Like you forget about. We haven't seen Brad Pitt for 45 minutes.
The first 2 acts sing. It does suffer a little bit in the last act, mainly because I didn't really care about the stakes because I didn't care about the characters enough, and that's a pretty big problem. But there's also a problem that I have where they're celebrating over 100 years of. I mean, it's an orgasm and masturbation of Hollywood once again. We've seen.
But
so
they
many
love
of this.
that. Critics love that.
They usually do, but maybe they've been pointed out for loving it too much, and they're like, we don't always love it. Who knows what makes critics tick? I don't know.
It felt like there was a lot for shock value. There was a lot of.
I don't know. I mean, they're trying to show just how crazy
right.
times were, and
I will point out that I did like this movie. I'd give this 3 stars, which is just average. But I wouldn't grab someone by the lapels and say you must see Babylon.
I would.
Don't touch me.
I would say there's just way too much Avatar in this movie. And I'm not kidding.
Avatar.
Way too much Avatar.
How so?
Well, do we talk about this movie? And a spoiler only? Do we?
No.
Avatar is actually in the movie. Brian had checked out apparently, but there's actually clips of Avatar in Babylon, which is insane.
At the
that was a missed opportunity. I feel like there was way more that could have been done with the self-congratulatory, look what Hollywood's done. But it's it's another one of these love letters to Hollywood from a guy who absolutely loves Hollywood. It's interesting that couple years ago, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was our favorite movie of the year. I think both of us.
It was the first time ever. It was number one in our summer preview, number one on the end of the year Vaulties for us, and something else, number one fall or something.
And these movies definitely are a nice like they buttress one against one another. Very nice, because this is the beginning of the golden era, and that one's the end of the golden era. And they're very different movies. They both star Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, and they're both all about excess and insanity. And I love this movie.
I'm glad you loved it.
Spike Jonze is the crazy
don't give
German
cameos.
That's not much. I mean,
I really
people are like, oh my god, I didn't know Spike Jonze was in there. I mean, people don't even know Spike Jonze really. Other than the directors,
I enjoyed him quite a bit.
He was fantastic. There's like maybe 5 scenes in this movie that are like top 20 scenes of the year for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. What about the snake fighting scene?
I didn't care for that.
That
wasn't one of my favorites. I didn't love that.
Bizarre and unnecessary.
Yeah, we could have trimmed some stuff. It didn't have to be 3 hours and 9 minutes, but I don't know why. It's 55% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That seems low.
The very
end,
very low. The what's supposed to be the emotional climax that you alluded to,
it doesn't.
Ironically enough, with Avatar, really fell short.
Yeah, I did, and that seemed like a missed opportunity. I don't know if his hands were tied because he can only use so many clips from other studios. I don't know. That'd be short-sighted.
I thought conceptually it was a bad idea, just using the clips to begin with.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Took me out of it. Took me way out of it.
Were you in it?
I was going to say, you seemed like you were out of it.
No, but at that point, I was ready for something to happen to this character in 1952 or whatever, and then Avery, if and when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It bumps you. It reminds you that you're watching a movie as opposed to...
Yeah, it's that old thing that people say, oh, it took me out of it.
It did.
I'm never really in it, so I don't know what that even means. I don't know what it means.
Avatar.
You were in Avatar.
I was in Avatar.
All right.
Well, just here's a...
Do you think this is going to be streaming anywhere? Because it seems perfect for like an HBO Max watch.
Yeah, probably in a few weeks.
Yeah, these streamers come out fast and furious these days.
All right, so safe. I will list it officially later. We need to take a quick break there.
Do we?
Avery.
Yes, we do.
You have Amazon yet?
Oh, I sent it to you. Oh, buddy, we have the longest Amazon read in film history.
Do we do it in the next episode?
I don't know. This is already getting bloated.
Agreed. All right, take a quick break. Be right back.
Yeah, we're back. Anderson has another movie to talk about.
It's going to be tough.
Why?
Because I just talk so much. I completely railroaded you because I have such passion for the old Babylon over there.
I can jump in with a quick one. Break it up.
Unless you saw a story about a wooden boy.
I did not, actually. I did not see. So that's going to be all used. Yeah, let me jump in then with a quick one, because I saw a movie. This begins a run of movies that I enjoyed more than I enjoyed Babylon and Avatar. Finally caught up with Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is a 2022 film directed by Helena Rain. I think Helena Rain.
We're all going to sign off on that at this table anyway.
Amandla Stenberg, Maria. I should make you read these. Maria Bakalova, Myhala Herod, Chase Sui Wonders.
Brian, why are you doing this?
These are who stars in the movie. Rachel Sennott, Lee Pace, and Pete Davidson.
Flawless.
86% are on Tomatoes. You can rent this across multiple platforms. Premiered at South by Southwest earlier this year. You saw this?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember. Did you Flickfest it?
I did.
Oh, I don't remember anything about it. Your Flickfession. And ironically enough, I saw this, I don't know, a week ago. And I've already, all the details are getting fuzzy. It's not sticking with me other than the fact that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie. It had a momentum. It had a tone. Which
sense of dread.
Yeah, sense of dread. I guess you would call this a horror movie, yes?
This is almost like a new genre that's popping up, where it's like, Richie's getting the comeuppance and
all alone in a house in a scary house in the woods.
COVID movie for sure, right?
Well, I think they shot it in 2021. The research
that would make it a COVID movie.
No, but I'm saying it wasn't during you couldn't shoot anything anywhere in like mid 2020.
But still, like having one location with very few actors and. Yeah.
Apparently, this is a spec script that got purchased and refined. I enjoyed. I found it to be light lifting. This is a movie with a very fun twist at the end. I will not say more than that, but a twist I enjoyed very much.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Okay. I think
The
that's my
movie or the
biggest
twist?
problem, the twist.
Oh no, I liked it a
Like
lot.
I wanted to really enjoy that, and I know I should have, but it's just for whatever reason I'm like, all right.
Really?
I should have. I know maybe there's something wrong with me. I think it kind of lives and dies on that twist, and if you find that very entertaining, I'm trying to be careful here. You know what I mean?
I found the movie. Had that not been a part of the movie would have been fine. 3-star movie. But the twist, what I thought was very clever and added the best kind of reveals or twists at the end. Added like a new layer of meaning to everything you just saw.
Yeah.
And did that for me completely.
The whole thing kind of made me feel uncomfortable too, from like drug flashbacks. And
Oh, really?
Like for the same reason why I can't watch that one that the kids are watching right now.
Euphoria.
Euphoria. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
like
shot
that's
in the
on
dark.
when Euphoria is on in the room. Like I have like drug flashbacks.
Really?
I have to leave the room. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Didn't realize.
Not good. Bodies. All right, Bryce.
Yeah,
You
I
think that's going to show up on your top 10 list at the end of the year?
No, I don't think so. But enjoyable, good rental. If you want to, it's bloody, it's violent, but it's also fun and funny. So if you want like I said, light lifting, something to pass the time on a Friday or Saturday night, you can do a lot worse than Bodies.
All right, I watched one with the boy, which probably maybe could have been not watched with the boy.
No.
A little darker than I was anticipating, and that is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, or it could also have been called Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson's Pinocchio, because it's co-directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson. This is voiced by Ewan McGregor and David Bradley and Gregory Mann are the three lead credits that we got going on over here. Ron Perlman is also in this, as well as John Turturro. And David Bradley plays Geppetto. Oh, Tim Blake Nelson is also in there. So Finn Wolfhard is also in there. All right, enough about that.
I just realized I have 7 movies.
Well, you can save one for next week, unless it's listed.
No,
So
we're good.
Avatar was the 7th favorite?
Yeah.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
I just realized, I'm doing the count. I'm like, why do I have so? Oh, I have 7. Like an idiot.
We were all clamoring for a new Pinocchio. Am I right, Avery?
Oh, yeah.
We could not wait.
No, I'd already gone 3 months without having seen a Pinocchio film.
Okay, property.
And we're like,
My family's getting rich off this, you guys. So keep it fun.
one is not enough. We need 2. And I chose to watch just the one because I did not need a new Pinocchio in my life. However, I was hearing good things about this one. I'm a fan of Guillermo del Toro, who's not, when he's not directing not Pan's Labyrinth, was one of the greatest of all, but when he's not doing Pacific Rim, who's not a fan of Guillermo. As long as he's not directing Pacific Rim, I'm a fan. Okay. And this movie was 15 years in the making. It's a type of stop motion animation that most all of us, myself included, will not fully appreciate unless you actually do a little digging before you watch it, because it's amazing what they do.
Wow.
The painstaking
I've
lengths,
seen a little bit of it. It's
the
amazing.
needlessly elaborate scenarios. One of
It
these
gives me
scenes,
so much anxiety watching them do it.
one of these scenes took 3 months to put together. It's a oneer with a monkey going through and showing Pinocchio the circus. Took 3 months. My wife overheard that. Jillian overheard that, and she was furious. She's like, "There's nothing that any human being should do for 3 months unless it's saving lives."
She loves movies.
She's just not.
Did you rewind so she could watch it?
That's right. This took someone 3 months. You're gonna watch this shit.
It's a stop motion animation film. Like I said, true to nature. These are these are things. It's like a 23-minute featurette that you can also watch on wherever, Netflix or whatever it was, that I highly recommend watching after or before. Either or, you'll get more out of it if you know what's happening there. It's stop motion animation with a few songs. It's not a musical by any means, but there are probably 2.5 too many songs. And there's
Sounds like a
songs.
musical to me.
However, they got to use the musical part to create a humorous effect. With Samuel, what's his name? Samuel
L. Jackson.
No, Sebastian J. Cricket. Okay. So Ewan McGregor.
Not Jiminy.
Close.
It's not bad.
Ewan McGregor. This is like Fantastic Fox, Mr. Fox, but with less fur.
His wallet says "bad motherfucker." Sorry, Mr. Fox.
Carlo is Geppetto's son.
Carlo Collodi.
Yeah, and he dies early on, and there's a lot of weeping, drunken weeping over the gravestone.
Oh.
Atticus had many questions.
Daddy, was he drunk?
Daddy, is he drinking alcohol? Is he dizzy?
Why is the sun hiding?
But it's interesting because, Guillermo's got like a real twisted sense and kind of a morbid curiosity to him. And a lot of his work is very
macabre.
Or macabre, as my dad used to say. You can say it either way, by the way. You know that? Macabre or
You
macabre.
can.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's accepted either way. It's one of those weird words. So
Like ensemble or ensemble?
it's like for you.
Don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do that.
so Carlo dies early on, and then Geppetto gets drunk, and then Geppetto, like in a drunken rage, creates the wooden boy, which was done purposely so that like one side of his face could be like good, and the other side's kind of like not finished because he was hammered when he made the first part, and like even more hammered when he made the second part. And then we meet Sebastian J. Cricket, who is like a snobby memoir writing world traveler who lives in his chest because he was living in the tree right before Geppetto starts slamming it down. And I could just say whenever Sebastian J. Cricket starts singing, it's hilarious.
That's good.
Let's just say he doesn't get to sing. It's very funny. So there's some card playing rabbit pallbearers, which were fantastic to look at. Like think of like a Donnie Darko type,
my God,
little Pan's Labyrinth. Like these guys were fucking awesome, and they end up playing cards in the afterlife. If the whole movie was just about those dudes, or the whale that comes up later,
there's a whale.
There's a whale.
Monster,
just like,
of course,
the whale rules. He's fantastic. A lot of Jesus talk early on too, where like Pinocchio is in a church where Carlo died, and he's looking up at Jesus on a cross, wooden Jesus, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm made of wood. No one likes me. Why does everyone like this wooden guy? Hey,
it's good.
What's up?" And Geppetto's like, "I don't know."
It's a long story.
Kind of. So, and then there's a monkey who is fantastic, who works for the evil circus runner. This is a new take on Pinocchio, as you'd imagine.
I would say it's an old take.
Is it? Is it like more true to the book?
It sounds more true to the book, which was pretty violent.
Well, you're related to the source material, Brian.
That's right. Jesus Christ, why would you set him up like this? This is upsetting to everyone. How are you related to the source material, Brad?
Yeah, the original author.
Filmable.
Yes, Brad.
The original author, Carlo Collodi, was a pen name. He took his name after the town he was from, Collodi, Italy. His real name, Carlo Lorenzini, which is my mom's last name. Lorenzini.
All right. Very good.
Which character was based on you?
Probably the bald kid. Stromboli.
All in all, I like this movie very much. It's
Honest
the fourth best
Disney property.
Fourth best movie I've seen. The 6-year-old, he took it down. However, like I had to pause it a couple times. I'm like, "Is this too much for you?" He's like, "No, Dad." But what he does, little fucker, after the movie's over, he'll go and like talk to Mom and be like, "Daddy had me watch a movie that was very scary." It's like, dude, what are you? No more Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 for you.
Wow.
Thank God. I watched all 3 of them with him over the break. Oh my God.
There's only so much Spider-Man one man can take.
The only, you know what? The only difference with like,
we got to thank Giovanni for the gifts. Did we not do that? Did I do that?
Yeah, we did it on the last episode.
Okay, because I unopened.
You did.
You
did. I think you did.
I took the plastic off the gift.
I thought you talked about Gio Johnny and the gift.
Yeah, my son calls Giovanni a superfan Gio Johnny. He calls him Gio Johnny, which is very cute. I should tell you this, Gio Johnny. We got a beta fish for Atticus for Christmas. He named him Captain Gio Johnny. So
I got an alpha fish.
His name is Captain Gio Johnny. All right, back to Pinocchio. Wait, one quick point, all right, about violence and whatnot in movies. All right, so the boy watches lots of Spider-Man with me. We watch a lot of Spider-Man cartoons. He watches a lot of G-rated stuff with tons of fucking violence. But the main difference is you're not allowed to show blood. And if you're a PG or if you're PG-13, then you can show blood. How about this? How about the fact that we are just, and I'm sure that other people have made this argument, but it really became crystal clear now that I got a kid and I'm watching these things with him. Maybe if we showed violence with blood to very young kids, they would get that violence isn't great. We prime them for like the first 8-9 years of their life to think that violence has very little to no consequences.
That's
you punch people and they just come right back.
And they just fly in the air.
Once they're old enough and they've already started like maybe using that violence on their peers, that's when they start to see like the blood and whatnot. I feel like it should be they should be subjected from the get-go.
R-rated kids movies.
That's right.
And the only difference is that, like, you'll punch someone and there'll be no blood in the G or PG version. You punch someone and there's blood in the PG-13.
Fair.
And it seems
you're on the vanguard.
We're priming children to think that violence has no consequences. All right. That said, Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio has some good laughs, amazing animation, and all in all, it's a very good story. I like it. Fourth best movie I've seen since I last talked at you.
It seemed nothing like what I would have guessed. I saw the trailer was playing, and I was like, what movie is this? Then when it came out, there was Pinocchio. I was shocked.
Yeah.
It's not what I would have guessed.
It looks really good, too. It looks...
And more fantastical than I would have... I'm just so rooted in the Disney
Have you seen
thing.
Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, it's got definitely some Pan's Labyrinth in there, which is a very good thing.
That's a good thing.
If you're asking this guy,
That's right.
Guillermo's just he's an artist. I like that Guillermo. 15 years in the making, though. Come on,
Just like Avatar.
It took that long to shoot that water.
3 months. It took 3 months. I don't even remember where I saw this. Where did I see this? Where is this movie? I don't know.
I think it's Netflix because I downloaded it.
That sounds right.
Didn't get to watch it, but I will watch it.
Are we? How many movies you done? You got to do one more, and then we'll
No,
call
I'm
it
gonna-
quits. Because I only have 2 more movies.
Well, yeah, but we got. You know what? This is perfect. We'll cut this off here. We got the very long Amazon
Well,
read for
you
next.
do one
episode.
more movie because you got like 4 movies.
But I'll save one for next week.
So you'll have 4 movies for next week, and
No,
me. How many movies you got?
I have notes for 4,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to save one for next week.
All right.
Because so far you're each at 3.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You only have 2 left.
I mean, we're not. I've only done 2. I've done Glass Onion and Pinocchio. I'm at 5-4.
You didn't do the last
I
one.
did Glass Onion. You did Welcome to Chippendales, Pinocchio, and Babylon.
I did Glass Onion.
No, you
There has
didn't.
not been glass onion discussed in this podcast.
Son of a bitch, because that's my 5th favorite movie. How did I do that?
How'd you do that?
It's not that good. I mean,
Oh,
we
come
don't
on.
have to talk about it. All right, let's
What?
just pound out Glass Onion
I
real
enjoyed
quick.
it quite a
Glass
bit.
Onion.
It was a delight.
How did I miss? Wait, so what was your first?
This was Avatar.
Babylon.
And then you went straight to Chippendales.
I just got so excited to
You know,
talk
it's
about
because
Babylon.
you jumped on board Babylon. Save glass onion because now we can just dissect.
I'm gonna have 4 movies.
We can peel it open.
Brian, you gotta break it open with a mallet. All right, you sure? I could do Glass Onion real quick. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. Everyone's seen it. It's been around forever. Time of the reference thing in Glass Onion and the lack of very funny writing bugged me a lot. Would have liked it more if it was better.
No, I thought the writing was funny enough.
It was so timely. It was like
But the-
6 months from now, you're not going to get some of these references. You know
Like
what I mean?
what? I don't remember all the time the references.
It was stuff about social media. It was just very in the here and the now, which works fine for like a cartoon like South Park that's, like weekly and more, I hate to say this, it feels sacrilegious, blasphemous, but more disposable.
Oh wow.
But, Glass Onion, I didn't write them down specifically. I found myself not laughing at one joke. I was mildly amused throughout, but also
I don't think it's a laugh out loud like comedy.
I think that's what it needs to be if you're going to enjoy it, unless you're
Oh,
really into
I
the mystery
enjoyed
of
it.
it. Are
No,
you
I
really into the
enjoyed
mystery of
it
it?
too.
Like what's making
yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing quite a bit.
I
enjoyed
thought
the
it was
mystery.
actually very deftly written the way
Yeah.
it kind of revealed what it
there's
revealed halfway through.
No doubt, it's really well written and constructed as far as a mystery, but I don't care for mysteries at all. At all. That doesn't.
Well, there's the
interest
rub.
me
Probably
at
should have
all.
led with that.
You should try Death on the Nile.
No, Orient Express. Fuck yourself. I mean, I enjoyed Clue because there was some funny shit in there.
Clue like 85.
Yeah, we watched.
I'm surprised-
We watched it recently.
I just didn't know if that's a weird pull.
So none of this, you didn't respond to any of this with the White Lotus appreciation. None of it.
Well, I saw the first one, and it's the same kind of thing. The menu's got the same kind of thing there, more effective. I mean, I loved Batista. He was very good, but he's not around much.
You didn't love the Ed Norton?
And Norton was all right.
I
I mean,
liked
everything.
Ed-
It was
I liked
all.
Norton a lot.
It was all slightly above average, but not something I'm like, oh my god, you guys got to see this movie at all.
I'm falling more in love with Benoit Blanc than I am with Daniel Craig's James Bond.
Are you really?
I think years from now, when we look back in his career, he'll be more
No.
notable for Benoit
That's
Blanc.
insane.
What you
That's
just said is just not. It's just not
insane.
right.
I think he'll have more cultural impact.
That's
That's
insane.
not. Yeah, and this is coming from a man who loves Glass Onion and Knives Out. Apparently,
This is coming from a man who loves James Bond.
just all the politics was kind of loud.
But
and
he's
in my
like
ear,
Sean
and just-
Connery for millennials, though. There's no way he's going
But
anywhere.
I don't think he has that kind of cultural impact as James Bond. Like
I think he just
does
for
anyone
millennials, yeah.
quote a Daniel Craig line from James Bond. I like those movies, but
Do you
yeah,
quote
I-
James Bond a lot?
Bond. James Bond.
Is the point of Bond to quote him?
well, I mean, when I say cultural impact, like you see stuff on social media. Like
Come here, you. Let me give it to you. Isn't that what he says a lot?
What?
Yeah,
Give me a
yeah.
year.
No, come here, you. Let me give it to you.
Oh, I see.
And he like
To
this.
the-
And he
to the
like
women,
this.
to the female character.
Yeah, yeah. How about this?
Yeah, he says it a lot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's his his catchphrase.
Real womanizing prick, that James Bond. Especially the Sean Connery years. My
I'm
Lord.
sorry, I didn't like this. I signed this.
I
to you
didn't
a couple of
dislike
weeks
it.
ago.
I didn't dislike it. It went down fairly smooth. I just wasn't like overtly. I never felt like pure joy like watching this movie. I was like, okay, all right.
What took you out?
I think
Did you think it was trying too hard? Was it too accidentally relevant? Because I think it came out.
I don't know if it was accidentally relevant. I'm sorry.
With the whole Elon stuff, it almost was.
The Elon stuff, that makes sense.
It almost lined up way too perfectly,
based
though.
around that. But no, there was other things about celebrities here, like, here and now. And I don't have, and I shouldn't have brought that up as a critique since I didn't write down exactly what they were. But it's probably 3 or 4 jokes that are dependent on the things that are happening like this.
That's
this
funny you mentioned
almost.
that, because Avery specifically brought up, and I agreed last time we talked about this, that the filmmakers got really lucky in the sense that they wrote and filmed this, who knows, a year ago or whatever it was. And now it's very relevant to our new perception of Elon Musk, which is maybe not the infallible genius that we all thought he was a year ago.
I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn over here, but I never thought he was.
Well, sure, but it wasn't
that
as
was the cult
talked
of his
about.
personality. That was his cult of personality. Whether or not you personally subscribe to Anderson, you have to acknowledge that people were...
A lot of people did, but a lot of people didn't, too. A lot of people thought that, he came from Blood Diamonds and was given this company and trying to make it seem like it was his own. And
I think when he was riding high with Tesla, he was looked at as a almost infallible genius by the vast majority of the public.
Oh, people were looking at him like he was Tony Stark when he was talking about digging through the L.A. to make the subways.
He can do anything. Well, put Elon in charge.
Because we want that. We want that. And Elon
agree.
decided to step up and try and be that. But I think
he was such a perfect douche.
I'm watching the trailer right now. It's so constructed and it's so paint by numbers in so many ways. While it is a very smart script, and there is some I loved the reveal to figure out that he's not quite who he says he is with the words that he was saying. You probably picked up on that.
Well, what's funny
you were
is
watching it.
I did, but I didn't realize what the Ryan Johnson, the writer director, was doing. I just thought this guy's so up in his own head and so eating his own shit,
that he doesn't
smelling his own farts. But he's making up phrases and words and idioms that don't exist, and it's like, that's his cult of personality.
But do you see what I'm saying about the cast and how it's all like placards and like placements and
they're
roles that it's almost like an SNL
archetypes.
Like archetypes, and there's so many scenes where they're kind of just standing around in the background while the two come. It felt like a play at times. It just
definitely
was too stiff for me.
Sure.
And I didn't respond to it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love it, but it was a 3-star movie, which is slightly above average, I guess.
That's right. We all agree on that.
I would have gone 4 on that.
I
might go 4.
I have a new way to rate movies. I'm going to continue to try and figure out the best way to rate movies. I'll tell you the next episode what I came up with.
That's a tease.
While watching Glass Onion, because I had a lot of time to think about other stuff.
Oh, that's really hurtful.
No, that's not true. It was while watching one of these movies. So I can't remember which one. Might have been Pinocchio. All right. Let's wrap this.
The mind drifted. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening. Let me pull up the show notes here. Thanks for listening. If you're a new listener and you made it this far, we really appreciate you. And hopefully, I'm serious.
I got 3 really good movies for the next episode. Which, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll be hearing that right coming up in a moment here.
That's a good point. Our next episode will be the conclusion of all of these movies that we've seen in the last week and a half or so, ending with, naturally, the best ones we saw.
So it works, yeah.
Stick around.
Unless I've already talked about one. Because Brian had it tragically,
I know,
criminally, way too low on his list.
Babylon.
Brian, honestly, though, before watching Babylon, before watching that movie, of course, I already know the answer. I don't even know why I'm asking you. You took a peek. You went and prayed at the altar. What am I supposed to feel about this movie, critics?
How do you guys feel? That doesn't change the fact that I love Damien.
Stop doing that.
I love Damien Chazelle, and I was excited for the movie. It might have been on my top 5 fall/winter preview. So that doesn't change the fact that I was still looking forward to it.
Did you?
The preacher said no. The preacher said not to watch.
Says it's a sin to enjoy.
That's right. The flesh.
Did you sell me on why it wasn't good? Other than
I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't love it as much as you.
That's not a critique. That's not explaining why it's not a good movie.
I said
why you didn't like it.
Turn the music down. I said it was indulgent.
Don't just be dismissive to Avery like that. I did not enjoy that at all.
Turn the goddamn music down.
That's better. At least it's like you're playing a part.
At least I'm doing something. I'm owning it. It was indulgent. It was too long. I felt like a lot of the debauchery that you enjoyed, I thought was done for shock value.
I didn't enjoy it. It made me uncomfortable. I watched it with my sister too, which makes a little bit uncomfortable when from the moment that the elephant releases early on, you're just like, okay,
it's that kind of movie.
Yeah, but it's like you love Jackass. There's no place for it in a movie like this. Is that what you're saying?
I love Jackass because like it wallows in that sort of low art. You know what I mean? Whereas this is masquerading as high art.
It's not masquerading. It is high art, and this is based on the irony of high art came from this place, and these are all based on things that actually happened.
I did like
While
the movie.
all those things didn't happen at one party, they're all drawn from different things, different accounts, different things that were written down and recorded that happened at that time in Hollywood and around Hollywood. You put them all in one house, but these are things like Elephant was actually at a house at a party. The Fatty Arbuckle thing upstairs where he's getting railroaded.
Anderson,
all that stuff.
The first thing I learned in writing class was, wow, that's really hurtful.
You missed. I turned the music up.
Isn't an excuse for bad writing.
It's not bad writing, Brian. It's interesting.
Thanks to the MTET. That's who you've been listening to for the last few minutes.
What was the MTET?
The MTET. There are featured artists this week. We try and feature a different artist every single week. Usually a listener who submits their music. And this is the MTET. Check them out at our website, AndersonandBryan.com. Let's play it again.
Oh, it's still playing.
Oh, nice. AndersonandBryan.com is where you go for all your Film Vault needs. We have a Amazon banner, which we've alluded to. It sits there atop the website, and if you need something to shop for yourself or someone else or a stranger, you can tap that banner. Costs you nothing. Gives us a few pennies in the back end, and we appreciate the help. It's a free way to support the show. Anderson and Bryan is the Instagram. The Film Vault is our Facebook. It's also our Twitter, The Film Vault. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, I don't know why you would, but if you want to, The Film Vault Podcast. Thank you to all of our Patreon listeners. We appreciate you. You guys keep the show going. Gio Johnny, Jordan Wolf, Mitch Burns, Mike Cole, and Eric Kath. Big special thanks to all you guys. Addie's Antiques is Anderson's antique shop on Twitter. Just look it up, Addie's Antiques.
Yeah, you know what?
He sells remaindered items.
Just today, actually, I was dragged out by the wife to go to an antique store, and my God, her price is competitive. Like, we went where like they're selling the stuff in person, and it's way more than what Jillian's got it for on her site. That she ships it to you, and it's
well, they got to pay rent. They got to keep the lights on. You're just doing that.
They've got a little booth. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like they call them eBay prices. She always charges under eBay prices.
Okay.
Yeah, so often I'm like, honey, like you're barely making a profit on that. She's like, I know, but I just want somebody to have it that loves it. All right.
Addie's Antiques is the name of that. You search it on Facebook. It'll link to it.
There's a link to it in the show notes.
Yeah.
There you go.
George.
Important to know, show notes on Anderson and Bryan will have all this information, so don't worry if you forgot. It's all up there. Avery has a podcast. It's called Invade the Decade. Check that out. You said something?
Yeah, I was going to say Jordan Montgomery, thinking of you, buddy, and thanks for all the good work that you did for us in 2022.
Jomo.
Perhaps you'll come back at some point, but
You'll
he's
get laid on.
Maybe you'll get laid on. You weren't laid off, so all right. And what else you got there, brother?
That's all I got. Until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.